Hey, ¿qué pasa, amigos? Man, it is a dreary, dreary day today. And it's misty and sprinkly. Chickens are hungry. Emma's still sick. But appreciate you guys joining us. My name is Matt Walker, and this is Sonnie's Place. Got quieter in there. Oh, that reminds me of working on the farm. An egg. I don't know what to think about that. Ladies are letting us down. Oh, you grossed up your water bowl. You go, sweetie. There you go. Sorry. Sorry. You guys have a good day. So, I am absolutely notorious for never buying new shoes. I picked a heck of a day to have shoes with holes in them. Oh man, what a wet and dreary day today. And it was cold out too. It was chilly. It was a cold rain, and we've had wind pickup here tonight too, so glad we got all the animal stuff done earlier. But talk about chilled to the bone, man, nothing makes you more tired than a cold rain. I don't know why that is, but it is. So, but anyway, I'm finally back out to the shop. Glad to be out here. I've got the youngest doing homework, the teenager has friends over, and Emma's still in bed. So I could not think of a better place to go than the shop. So here I am, and glad to finally be back out here. And I had promised you guys an unboxing of my newest toys that I have. Actually, let's say tools, because I will be using them. So I wanted to go ahead and show you guys what I got, since I promised that in the last video, and take a look. Oh, and here she is. This is my latest addition to the shop. This is a Miller Multimatic 215 Multiprocess Welder. This will do both MIG welding and stick welding. I've had a stick welder for quite a while, and it's served its purpose. It's done a really good job of doing what I needed it to do. But I'm not a very good stick welder. And to be perfectly honest with you, and some of you purists out there are probably going to start screaming at your TV now, or your computer, but I don't really care to be a good stick welder. I just want to be able to do a good weld, basically. I want to have an easier way of getting the work done. So I'm never going to be out in 35-mile-an-hour winds trying to weld something, and never going to be doing super dirty welding or anything like that. Everything I'm going to be doing is going to be in a controlled environment, probably in this shop right here, and I'm going to have the opportunity to make sure all of my metal is clean. And so so that's really why I decided to go with the MIG welder. I did not get the TIG kit that you can purchase for this welder, but I will probably try and get that in the future, but not right now. It's too expensive for now, and I just don't know how to TIG weld, to be honest with you. I'd like to learn. I'd like to take the time to learn, but didn't really want to deal with it right now. So just wanted to be able to weld in a way that was easy for me, because I am able to MIG weld much better than I can stick weld, and also you know, just a lower learning curve. So we'll go ahead and open this guy up, let you see what I got, and if I can find my box cutter, we'll open her up. Alright, so this gas hose clamp, looks like a couple extra nozzles in here too. And of course this here is the business end of a MIG welder. This is your gas feed and your wire feed. This is the portion that actually does the welding. So then we have our gas regulator that will attach that bad boy, and onto the welder itself. And here she is. Only thing left to do now is actually put it together. So one of the nice things about this the Miller Multimatic 215, and it definitely does not have the market on this particular feature, the Lincoln, I think it's the Lincoln PowerMig 210, I believe is what it's called. It does the same thing, but in the olden days, these welders, you can open it up and you get a chart right here that would help you figure out what to set your welder to for different thicknesses of steel, based on your thickness of wire, that sort of thing. So it was all right here, very handy and an easy to read chart. So it took a lot of the guesswork out of your welding. But now, whenever you want to set up for your weld, everything is actually right here on your screen. So you can tell it what your wire thickness is, what your metal thickness is that you're actually welding, and it'll start you out with what your settings would probably need to be, and then you can do some minute adjustments from there. But really like that, and so yeah, this is what I decided to get. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. I need to get it hooked up to the gas, need to get the wire installed and all that fun stuff, and maybe if I can get everything together, we can maybe put something together. It'd be awesome. All right, so I think everything's ready to go. Here's my wire feed here, or my wire spool here, and then this is what actually feeds it into the nozzle properly. And this particular wheel here, it, depending on your wire thickness, this has different settings. So you kind of push it in and turn it, and it will go in and out, and there are 3 different grooves in here. If you can see those very well. But there are 3 different grooves in that wheel, so you just have to make sure that you have the right groove for the right wire. So I did have to change that, got that figured out, took a minute, but I think we're good there. Our tension, probably a little high right now. Let's back it off a little. Set it to about 2.5. A good place to start. So wire's feeding through correctly, and I think the only thing left now is to just make sure that we have the machine set for my proper metal thickness, and we will be good to test this guy out. All right, so just to make sure that I've got my welder set on the right settings, I'm going to go ahead and use my calipers and measure this piece of angle iron. For some reason I had it in my head as 1/8 of an inch, but I don't think it's quite, or it may be a little more than that, I'm not sure. So this comes in at right about 2/10 of an inch, right at 0.2, so it's actually a little thicker than 0.8, 1.25. So we'll see what we can get our settings to on the MIG welder. We may just need to set it to, I don't know, 3/16, and maybe turn down the wire speed a little bit. I'm not really sure. We'll play with it, try and figure it out, and see what happens. Okay, so right out of the gate here, the welder is actually set pretty darn close to what we want. As soon as you plug it in, turn it on, these are the settings that you get. And so here on the left, this LED light is actually lit up next to MIG Steel C25. Basically that just means that my gas mixture is 25% CO2, and this one's actually 75 argon, 25% CO2. The next one down is C100. You can actually weld with pure CO2 gas, but if you try to MIG weld with pure CO2, you're going to get quite a bit of spatter. And so I went ahead and went with the 75-25 mixture. And my steel is about 0.2 inches thick, and 1/8 of an inch that's too thin of a setting. So I'm going to bump that up to 3/16, which is pretty close to 0.2, and we'll go with that, see what it does for us. And then if I wanted to, I could adjust the wire speed. I'm not going to adjust that too much. I want to go ahead and just give it a shot. But what I'm going to do is just go ahead and go with the default settings. I want to see what it's going to do with its preset voltage and wire speed. So I'm going to go ahead and get geared up, and we'll give this guy a shot. So the wonderful thing about welding is that it can burn you. Get this on the right way. Welding can burn you, blind you, and or kill you. So if you're not wearing some sort of eye protection, and you look at the direct light from the weld, it can really screw up your eyes. And that same light from the weld can actually give you a pretty severe sunburn if you're welding for long enough with short sleeves on. And also you can include the the red hot spatter that comes off of your weld that can land on your skin, which happens all the time actually. And if you're welding in an enclosed environment, this is actually a pretty big room. I've got pretty high ceilings, and so it's not really that big of a concern here. But as you heard me say, the gas is 75 argon, which humans don't breathe, and 25% CO2, which humans don't breathe. And so if you're in a small enclosed space long enough, you're breathing in the oxygen and you're exhaling CO2. Oh, and by the way, you're blowing CO2 and argon into that space along with you. It can cause a lot of problems for you. So definitely need to make sure that I'm geared up. I've got gloves, I've got a welding helmet, and let's see what happens. I don't know if you heard that or not, but that sounded beautiful. That was a great sounding weld. You can tell a lot of the problems from your welder usually just by the sound of it, and that kind of sizzle that it was making as I was going along. That's a really good sound, and it's really fun, so let me do it some more. As I was making that weld, my wire hiccuped on me, and it just briefly stopped. And it actually did it a couple of times on that weld. I'm not really sure why. I may need to adjust the tension knob on my wire. You saw earlier I had it set to like 3.5, I think 3 or 3.5. I backed it down to about 2 or 2.5. So I might want to crank that back up a little bit to take care of that wire hiccup. But if I could run a straight bead, this would actually be pretty beautiful. So the first one on the left was my very first stitch, and the one on the right, which is a much prettier weld, that's a keeper. Again, if I can keep a straight line. But that's neither here nor there, right? I'm thinking big time success on this new welder. Like I said, I got some minor adjustments to make to the wire feed. But other than that, I am super happy with this thing. Okay, so I'm looking at this table, this new welding table that I have, and I see actually very little spatter. I mean, it's almost non-existent, the amount of spatter that I have on this table, which is awesome. That means that my gas was set well, and my voltage was set right, and my speed of movement was pretty much spot on. And so this makes me giddy, man. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this welder. I cannot wait to do some more stuff with it. I need to get this table operational. So this guy was actually a Christmas gift from my wife. The beautiful thing about this table is that it is what its name says it is. It's certified flat. So I believe this thing has a tolerance of about 0.004 inches. That's how flat it is, and or 40 thou, however you want to look at it. And so when it comes in the box, it is a flat piece of just plate steel with holes drilled in it, so that you can actually use clamps and that sort of thing to hold your welding material in place, so that it doesn't warp and twist and potato chip on you. And so you probably can't tell, but out of the box it's literally just a sheet of metal. And so a sheet of metal is, I mean, unless it's super thick, it's not going to hold its flatness. And so the flatness for the table actually comes from the frame that you put on it. And so this actually is kind of a little bit of a bowl, and so it actually bends slightly in both ways, both on the x-axis and the y-axis. And so so what I need to do is I need to put the frame on here, and the middle will sag off of that frame just a little bit, and I'll use some U-bolts or something like that to pull the middle up to the frame, and that'll push the outsides out, and that'll make it pretty much perfectly flat. And so that's the first thing that I need to do with my welder, is put the frame on this welding table and weld it all together, and then I can turn it over and I'll have a really good table that I can use to build my first project, which is going to be a welding cart for my new Miller welder, Miller Multimatic 215 welder. Then I'll go ahead and make some legs for this table, hopefully with some retractable casters, so that I can actually move it around. I don't see this staying in this room. I see this going in the larger part of our shop, next to my other metalworking equipment, my anvil, my forge, that sort of thing. So so one step at a time. I get this table flat, get the welding cart built, and then I can put the legs on this table. So actually pretty excited to get going. Like I said, this welder actually made me pretty happy today, and I can't wait to actually get into a decent sized project with it. Till then, I hope you enjoyed what you saw here with the welder, the setup, and all that fun stuff. If you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments. Questions about my experience with the welder, I'd be happy to give them to you. I'm gonna get out of here. It's cold and it's dark, and it's supposed to get colder tonight. So I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna start a fire, and I think I'm gonna try and snuggle with my wife in front of the fireplace. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. It really helps us out. And if you want to be notified whenever a new video comes out, be sure and click on the bell, and you'll get that notification. But till next time, I hope life is good. Adios.